Hey everybody, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute, and you're listening to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, where we discuss the importance of purpose in our everyday lives. Discovering and living out your purpose keeps you focused on God's purpose. That is sharing the good news of salvation with others. This podcast is for people like me, still searching for the answers to who am I and why am I here? You and I were designed and created by God for purpose, and we have much to do. You can listen and subscribe to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose with Brenda Devine on Anchor and all other podcast platforms. Hey, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Hey, I just want to thank you again for spending time with me throughout your day or your week. Just spending time with me to talk about living a life of purpose. And I want to jump right into our topic, which is pride and humility. So when I first started in ministry with Purpose 8 Institute, and I believe it was right after I wrote my first book, one of my spiritual sisters told me that I needed to put with love in front of everything that I do. And I understood her because I was broken and I was new in the ministry and I was a little rough around the edges. And I had to understand that I needed to put love first in everything that I did. And how I talk, how I speak, how I respond to people, how I talk to them about purpose. That I need to put love first. But after I've had this experience of being humbled by God and learning the lesson of humility, I want to offer and add to what my spiritual sister advised me. And I want to put in front of love, I want to put humility. Because I have to be humble to receive love, to give love, to know love. I have to humble myself to know love, to speak love, to respond in love. A few months ago, I was reading, I like to read Reverend Matthew Henry's complete commentary, and basically it's a 6-piece set of his commentary on the Bible. And I believe I was studying about pride, and in his writing he was speaking about the prophet Elijah, who was being led to a widow that was poor. And I believe she had 2 sons. And Elijah met the woman while she was out picking up twigs from the ground to make fire for her meal, possibly her last meal for herself and her children. And she's introduced to Elijah. And he asked, in that introduction, she's introduced as him asking her to make a meal for him before she makes anything for herself or her children. Now, my response to that would have been like, I'm busy. I got something to do. Don't you see that I got all this other stuff? I barely have enough to cover for me and mine. And you want me to do what? no, I'm good. See you later. No, that would have been my response. But in the lesson of humility that I've learned, I draw close to this passage that Reverend Matthew Henry wrote, and I printed it and put it near my desk so that I am reminded to read it. And for me, it speaks about the woman's humility. Her humility of humbling herself, because she recognized that Elijah was a man of God. She humbled herself to her Creator, and she humbled herself as a person, as a human, to be obedient to someone that she didn't even know, who wanted something from her. And so the passage goes, her mind was brought to her condition, and she complained not of the hardship she was brought to, nor quarreled with the divine providence for withholding rain, but accommodated herself to it as well as she could. Such as are of this temper in a day of trouble are best prepared for honor and relief from God. So, when she was asked to give what she had, to give everything that she had, she gave it up. She did not consider herself to be better or worse than Elijah, but she answered what God wanted her to do, and she answered as a human. I'm going to say that this story could have taken a whole nother turn, and she could have been prideful. She could have responded like I said I would have. But what I've learned from studying and reading, but most important, experiencing God's humbling and learning from his humbling, is that it is very easy to get caught up in pride. Very easy, because pride doesn't come to us with a big red flash saying, pride, watch out, get out the way, danger. It doesn't. It's subtle. It's sneaky. It weaves its way into places of our lives that we wouldn't even think about it. And when we are going through something, that pride can get elevated really easy and very quickly. So, in that passage, in the lessons, in the reading, I've learned that, and just as this widow demonstrated, that I am not that special. I'm not that important. My standards are not God's standards. There is a capacity within my design that I only have certain limits. I can do all things that God wants me to do, but he's going to have me do what's within my design and my capacity. We're all different. We're all built and designed different. We're all unique. And I have to be confident and content in who I am. And this woman, she was confident and she was content. She could have argued. She could have complained, because I would have been doing a lot of complaining. She could have complained, but she didn't, because she acknowledged the providence that she saw. And I'm going to say that in everything that we do, we talk about love. We talk about loving God and loving ourselves and loving people. I mean, it's really easy to be mad at people. It's really easy to hold grudges and to not forgive. It's really easy to do those things. But the lesson, what's really hard is getting beyond who we think we are. Who we think we are. And realizing that we're not God. We're not in control of anything. We don't own anything. We don't even own our own breath. When we die, we don't take anything with us. So we don't own anything. We are no one. We may believe that we are our titles and our positions and our finances and our zip codes and whatever else we think. But really, we're not. And that's the humility part of recognizing that while we are loving God and loving ourselves and loving other people, that humility has to go first. That we recognize that who we are is no better than the other person. And there is a huge peace in that, because you're not responsible anymore. The only thing you have to do is to be you and follow, as opposed to trying to control everything. And that is the beautiful part of humility. Now, I'm not going to say that being humbled isn't difficult, because it is. But after it, there is so much peace and contentment and fruit to share, because now that I understand better about humility, I look at things differently. I look at people differently. I look at if someone who has offended me or someone I think has hurt me, I have to reconcile my mind. And it's not always an easy process, and it might take a little bit, but I have to reconcile my mind that they are human just like I am, that I am no better than they are, that I don't set the standard for anything, that I don't own anything, not even my breath. And they are in the same position as I am. So we're level, we're equal, we're no better, we're no worse. So there is no competition. There is no pride. So I just wanted to share that lesson that I've learned in humility, because as we go on with our conversations on living a life of purpose, I want to expound on, I want to make sure that I share with you that humility needs to come before the love of God, the love of yourself, the love of people. And I want to make sure that that is in our conversation, and that that is in the conversation and the journey of purpose. Because I can say I love God. I can say that He is my creator, and that I acknowledge Him, and that I love Him. But if I can't love people, then I'm just making noise. And I'm not really going to fulfill my purpose, because my purpose is about giving God glory, okay? And the other part of my purpose is serving and helping people. So in order for me to serve, I humble. I can't just dish out the love. I have to present it in humility. So I just wanted to share that with you, give you that as something to think about. Because as we go on in these conversations about purpose, that humility has to be there. That love has to be there in order for us to live our lives of purpose. We have to be humble ourselves before God, and we have to humble ourselves before people. So this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, on Anchor and all other major podcast platforms. To learn more about Purpose 8 Institute and our ministry of sharing the importance of purpose, please visit our website, www.purpose8institute.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. If you would like to learn more about purpose beyond this podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, you can also purchase one of my books that are available on my website, purpose8institute.com, and also on Amazon.